Alright, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the next scenario after the path, which is the rocky ground in the parable of the sower in Matthew 13, and we'll read verse 5. Matthew 13:5. Others fell on rocky ground where there wasn't much soil, and they sprang up quickly since the soil wasn't deep. But when the sun came up, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered. And then in verse 20, Christ explains it. He says, "And the one sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived. When pressure or persecution comes because of the word, immediately he stumbles." Now this one's very important. This one might be even more inward-looking than outward-looking with the application here. Christ is saying, you know what, you're going to plant seed, and it's going to look like you've done a great job. It's going to look like people have grown. Maybe you're the seed that's been grown, and you know what, you're going to shoot up. These people are going to be on fire. You might be on fire, but soon enough, they're going to get scorched. They're going to get pressured. They're going to get persecuted, and it's done. Now, what are these pressures and persecutions? In our day and age, we have freedom of religion, so we're not persecuted like they were in the past necessarily. At least not in this country. But major issues are going to come. In your own life, and in deciding when your faith matters and when it counts, and it's persecuted in different ways now, and it's light persecution, and it's a better tool of the devil, I think. When you might say you're a Christian, but what do you do at school? Does it break down there? What do you do when you're at work, when people are saying stuff, they're going to go out and get drinks or whatever it might be? What happens to you then? What happens when all your friends want to go out and party or do whatever? And you know what, you might say you're a Christian, but you fold to the pressure. I know I have. And you say, yeah, I guess, okay, isn't that scorching your root? Now, at the same time, the way this has always been applied to me is when we have new Christians come in, and they're good for maybe even up to a year, and then they just fall away and you never see them again. I think it's a little bit deeper than that, and you know, that might be it. But what do you do with a new plant? I worked at a nursery this summer, and they're all sold in these half pints, or some of them are in a couple gallon containers, or those are the bigger plants, of course. You have to transplant them. You don't keep them in their own little pot. You have to take them to a new field. You have to take them to new soil. You have to put them in new dirt and plant them. Otherwise, they're going to die, no matter how much you water them, no matter how much you fertilize them. Unless you just take pristine care of these plants and keep them inside when it freezes, whatever it is, but they do not live naturally in a little pot. You have to transplant them. You have to let them grow. Now, you see people all the time. You hear the phrase, people are more appreciated the farther away they get from home. I think your faith can do the same thing. Now, we all probably have a spiritual home, and I know mine is probably back in Mulvane, where I grew up, and church, and also camp. Now, moving out to Hays last year was a difficult test for me, or Oklahoma, and see when I lived down there. And what happened is Mulvane I could grow a little bit, but you know what? I wasn't transplanted. Now that I've been able to transplant into Hays, I've been able to grow so much more and really sink my roots deeper into the soil. Why? Because I'm not around the constant pressure or the constant eyes of my parents saying, you have to be at church, you have to be at church, or constant judgmental glances of, if you're not at church, you're not going to live in this house. Even though I don't think that's how it was, but that's what it felt like. No, I come out here and I go worship God because I want to learn, and I want to make this very central part of my life. So doing this, transplanting into a new field, has made me grow, made me see needs and try to take these out. And when these rocks, if we can't move, we have to find other ways. These rocks are a whole bunch of things in our lives as well, whether it be school, video games, internet, whatever it is, music, I don't know what it is, things that clog up your life, clog up my life, and say there's no good soil to root. Now what we have to do is we have to take those things, spread them out, and plop in our spiritual roots first, because that's what matters, and then put those things in where they might lie, but always have good, sharp, ripe soil or fertile soil, or however you want to put it, right there to make sure, yes, I can grow, and I can grow now, and I can grow quickly, and I'll grow fertily. Right there. You always have that first. Now, if you're, with me, I was able to move in my midst. But how can you do this in your own congregation when you can't move? Maybe it's saying, well, I've got as much as I can out of this class. Maybe I need to go teach a class. Maybe I need to go lead an outside ministry and minister to some other people. Find the sick, find the hurting, and go out there, because we were commanded to go out and seek, not have them go seek us. That's why it grew so much in the first century. The church did, is because Christians actively went out and seeked. What were they doing? They were transplanting their seed, they were transplanting their knowledge, they were transplanting everything they had. They went out and seeked and found new fields to grow in. You look at the cactus. The cactus lives in the most harsh environment for a plant in the world, I think. When you look at the desert, no rain, scorching sun all day, what do? They dig deep into the ground and are in an environment they're not supposed to live in. No plant is supposed to live in a desert, technically, and yet they survive and they thrive. There's not necessarily a lot of cacti out there, but there's a bunch more than there should be in water instances. So what do we have to do? Sometimes we have to go into the harsh circumstances, into the harsh weather, and grow that way. We have deeper roots there because we know what we stand for. So whatever this desert of spirituality might be, maybe that's where we go to grow, and we're transplanted there. Or maybe we grow in a place that's much more fertile and you can really grow in and have more support around you. Whatever it may be, find good soil. You don't have to settle, and you don't have to have people around you settle for rocky soil. Do not settle for that, but transplant other people into the soil that they can grow in. Whether you are a deep grower in the desert, whether you are a grower in better climates where it's easier, but you have more encouragement, whatever it may be, find your soil you can grow in. Do not settle for rocky soil, for soil you can't sink roots into, but find soil we can grow. Find soil we can be influential Christians. Find good soil. Thank you. You guys have a great day.